You remember Adobe Flash Player? I'm sure you do, but in case you don't, it was a beautiful browser plugin that served as the backbone to so many of our childhoods. It supported some of the most popular games online of the early 2000s and 2010s, like Club Penguin, Happy Wheels, and so many more. However, one of the things that I always thought was coolest about Flash Player was the accessibility that it gave to inexperienced programmers. People who had never made a game before in their entire life suddenly had a tool where they could actually turn their ideas into a playable experience. And the result of this accessibility is a wide spectrum of games, from genuinely innovative and compelling projects that never would have been created without Flash to 2010's Furby shitpost. And today we're gonna go through the whole sprint. Flash Player was unfortunately discontinued back in 2020, so many of these games would have been lost to time if not for the beautiful, beautiful program Flashpoint. Flashpoint is an amazing archival collection of old internet games, many of which are made in Flash, but the archive covers even more modern browser plugins like HTML5. It's really quite impressive, but today we're just going to be looking at the games in Flash Player. I tried going through the full list of games and saving anything that caught my attention for better or worse, so without further ado, let's go back to our childhoods and see what Flash had to offer. And we're going straight in with the heat. First up, we got Teletubby Woodland Massacre. This game instantly grabbed me with the thumbnail being a crispy Teletubby PNG just sitting in the forest, and once you get into the game, if you can even call this a game, you immediately realize there are no sounds or animation. The Teletubbies just kind of warp around after you shoot them, and other than this little blast of MS Paint fire, there is no indication that you're actually hitting them. But strangely, this game has both an actual ending and a Michael Jackson post-credit scene. Absolute masterclass in gaming. Why wasn't this at the Game Awards? Come on, guys. Up next, we got CF Warrior.
No, it's fine. I just didn't think it would be Chinese.
I actually like this game probably more than I should have. The fact that everything is a 2D sprite that's animated like it's from an old FMV game gave this game a weird amount of charm that I was not expecting. The game itself is just shooting waves of enemies who spawn out of these little portals, complete with fun glitches. I'm sorry, no, not glitches, I mean quirks. They're intentional quirks. Things like the enemy is not actually dying once you've killed them, or the fact that you can reload the gun whenever you want, even if it's at max ammo. Also, I think this is just the nurse from Silent Hill they stole. Like, a fantastic game, 10 out of 10. The next chunk of games that I want to talk about were in this genre of save the blank. Like, we got Save the Batman, Save the Spiderman, and does that say Ben 10 Save the Princess? Okay, never mind. We just found a better game. So in Ben 10 Save the Princess, you're going through the iconic scene from Ben 10 where you fought on the horseback battles from Black Ops 2. You remember that episode? The game's controls are unsurprisingly jank as fuck, with the jump timing being damn near like Geometry Dash level. This is a demon. I eventually figured it out, but for a Ben 10 Flash game, I was shocked at actually how hard it was. Why did I actually start caring about my performance in the Ben 10 horse game? I disagree. Yo, Ben 10 horse game? Come on. I'm top 10 ranked in the Ben 10 horse game. Alright, now to the game that I actually did want to talk about here. This was a very, very common type of game that I'm fairly certain are all identical with different reskins, so I just randomly picked the Spider-Man one. Immediately, you'll notice that this game was not designed to be played in 16:9 because enemies will just float off the side of the screen until it's their turn to drive in. Like in the aspect ratio that the game was intended to be played in, you wouldn't see this, but getting the entire thing feels kind of like a boundary break video that nobody asked for. I also like that Spider-Man's just driving, like, what the fuck is that, a Honda Civic? Something I noticed in this game that I thought was kind of funny is that not a single one of the guns match their in-game counterpart. Like, the thing they're calling the AK-10 9mm is just an M16 in the photo, but then it's an MP40 in the game, and this thing they're calling the MX-188, which is, by the way, not a firearm, but a flight route, is an AK variant in the picture, but then in the game they give you a shotgun? Like, I feel like definitely no kid playing this game would have cared or noticed, but as a big gun nerd, this was just weird and kind of funny to me. I'm not gonna lie, I actually got weirdly hooked on this game and made it all the way to level 10, but once you get there, the game itself actually gets damn near impossible. This is a fun time killer game, and honestly not that bad for what it was. I could see myself spending time with this in a computer lab. I'm pretty sure I did, actually. I'm pretty sure I've played this before. And I feel like given my channel name, I just had to play this one. Up next, we got Rat Buster. But now that I'm saying that, Rat Blaster might have been a better name. I'm gonna submit a suggestion. Okay, wait, this shit's hand-drawn. This has some love in it. I think my biggest takeaway from this game was just how much personality it had. Like, is this a good video game? Not really. Holy crap! But is it made with a notable amount of love and effort that is often lost in the current age of AI? Fucking yeah, dude. The game only features one room with a consistent loop of rats that never changes. The only rat that can actually damage you is this one that jumps out from the wall, but if you get the timing down, there is no possible way to lose. Also, the dev said that their high score is 40 points, but once I got the cycle down, I went well over that. There we go, I'm officially better at the game than the guy who made it. Let's go. Again, I don't want to say that this is a particularly well-made video game, because it's not, but I am saying that it has a heart, and I really truly think that counts for something. And I think is indicative of the larger point I'm trying to make about Flash, which is it gave kids a way to express themselves, and that this seems to be what that is. Another really common type of Flash game that I personally remember playing a lot of myself were dress-up games. Pretty much all of these are just Photoshop files with a bunch of assets preloaded into them where you can drag images and make outfits. But in the context of the internet at the time, this was a really cool approach to making custom outfits online. Like, I didn't have access to Photoshop as a kid, but I had weird little things where I could make Ben 10 outfits, so that was the same thing. I decided to play the Inuyasha version of the dress-up game for no particular reason, and I came up with this abomination of a character. Look at... Now that we're in the Inuyasha territory, this game is entirely different from anything we've played so far because I have no hesitation in actually calling this a video game. But that is because this game was actually made by experienced devs, and that is because it was hosted on Adult Swim's website. So unlike all the games we've talked about before, this one was actually officially licensed and I guess technically made for profit. The game is a turn-based combat game where you select 3 moves at a time and you actually have to move around a grid to place your attacks. I'm fairly certain this concept is based on a real game series, but I am not a huge fan of this genre of game, so I am so sorry. I don't know what it's from. You can tell me in the comments. But despite my general lack of interest in this genre of game, I actually found this particular one to be pretty fun. Trying to guess where the enemy was going to move to anticipate their attacks had a fun level of strategy to it. Like 90% of the time, I felt like I was just gambling and got lucky, but that was kind of why it was fun. Like, it was kind of hard for me to feel like I was bad at the game or making bad decisions when so many of the movements were kind of just left up to chance. I could see myself wasting many hours of my allotted computer time back in the day if I knew this game existed, but back in 2004, I don't think my 4-year-old self was spending much time on AdultSwim.com, so I might have just missed that one. The next game I want to talk about isn't a single game, but rather a long series of games with well over 15 entries in it, and that is the hardest game in the world. Since there were so many versions of this game that all looked pretty much identical, I decided to grab 3 at completely random, so we're going to look at the hardest games 2, 9, and 15. Hopefully I won't miss any important lore from the hardest game 1, but we'll see. Let's see what the series had to offer that made it so good they felt compelled to make over 15 of them. Okay. Just find the thing. What? Huh? What was the game? You know, I've heard, number 2, they were still figuring the series out. Maybe by number 9, maybe by game 9, we're really getting somewhere, right? Let's... I really see the improvement. I really see that they learned a lot in the past 7 iterations. What the fuck is this game? Alright, let's try out 15. Surely 15. Sure. Oh, okay, we got a new loading screen. That's a good sign. Hardest game in the world. Classic 15. Also, how have we lost quality, brother? How has it got worse? Is this one not even a functional game? There we go. Okay. Alright. Huh. In a similar realm of quality to that game, we have the world-renowned Kill the Noobs. Oh. I did it. Okay. Next, we got Furby Killfest. This game has the same energy as the Teletubbies one, but unlike that Teletubbies game we played before, you can really tell that this one was made with some genuine vitriolic hatred. Holy crap! I am 99% certain that the dude who made this game had a sister or a cousin or someone with a really loud Furby that he fucking hated, and this was just an exercise in self-control. Moving now out of the trenches of bad Flash games, this next one is actually quite charming, albeit nearly unplayable, and that is South Park 007. This one isn't actually built on Flash, but it's made in another browser plugin that was created in '98 as an alternative to Flash, so it holds much of the same historical significance, if not even more, because most of the games are from slightly earlier. This game itself feels like an otherworldly fever dream, but given that it came out before 9/11, that actually checks out. The graphical style reminds me of 90s PC games like the Elder Scrolls Arena or Daggerfall, with these textures warping in and out of existence as you walk towards them. The game launches in split screen with each player controlling one of the South Park guys. Wait, what? Oh. One player, oh my god, it's a co-op game. This is actually really cool. I thought that the forced co-op aspect of this game was actually really sick, because it's just such a relic from another time. Like, there was a point where sitting next to your friend sharing a keyboard playing games against each other was not that uncommon. That is magical. I miss that. I love that. The only problem that I had in this game was figuring out where the fuck I was at any given point. Like, even once I figured out where the other player was, that was not much of a visual guide, because the game can only have one sprite on the screen at a time, which means both Kenny and Cartman are just kind of blinking back and forth. Very weird to look at, very disorienting, but it is a time capsule to what the internet was like almost 3 decades ago. It's a really fun example of what online gaming used to be. Speaking of what online games used to be, this next one is fucking awesome. This feels like something I would have made in my backyard with a video camera when I was like 10, except it's weirdly well made, like way better than the shit I used to make. This game is an on-rails shooter where it's just textures overlaid on top of a video of the creator walking around his house, but the game itself is weirdly well done. Like, even though every enemy is just the same guy in different poses, it still feels weirdly fluid and satisfying to click on them. Like, compared to some of the other stuff I've played in this video, this genuinely flows and plays a lot better. Also, there was some fun interactive moments, like this area where you get to pick up an item. Like, you technically can't pick the wrong thing, so it's not a real choice, but it reminded me of one of those old videos on YouTube when they let you do the on-screen links where people would do like multiple endings. It was kind of fun. It just reminded me of that era of video creation. It was really fun. All in all, this game was just made with so much love, I can't help but adore it. It is so emblematic of what the internet was at the time. Like, anyone with a video camera could create art, and although it is a blurry Flash game, I genuinely would consider this art. Also, a little fun side fucked up fact, but this game came out in 2002, which means the kid in this game is likely in his 30s now, so I truly hope life has treated him well. I'd be curious to see where he is now. Full disclosure, I almost cut this game from the video because I have nothing to say about it, and I really just had to put it in here to verify whether or not I'm experiencing psychosis. Because I absolutely remember this movie, but I have never heard a single soul talk about it, so I may have just made it up. Please verify if this is a collective hallucination. Do you remember this, monkey? But the next one is an all-time classic, and the only game on the list that I actually played myself as a kid, and that is Super Smash Flash. This shit went absolutely crazy in middle school. I'm guessing they updated the game since I last played it, because I do not remember the UI looking this crisp, but the character roster is exactly the same as I remember. I always chose Ichigo from Bleach as my main because I was reading Bleach at the time I played it, but there's a huge roster in the game that seems to pull from just the most random IPs. The game itself is actually a really well-made clone of Smash Bros. Like, it feels and flows exactly how you would expect it to. So nowadays it is kind of weird to review the game because it really is just Smash Bros. But built in Flash. Back in the day, this had a lot more value just on the fact that you could play Smash Brothers with unofficial characters on any computer. Like, that was mind-blowing. You didn't need a specific console to do it. You could just log into a Mac in the computer lab and start playing Smash. That was crazy. Although in my personal play session, I think the stage I played on was slightly glitched because we were just floating above the map the entire time, but the background was gorgeous and it gave me a good shot that I was gonna use in the thumbnail but decided not to, so actually I'm gonna put the old thumbnail on screen. Let me know, would you have clicked on this? I swapped it. Would you have clicked on this? This is a weird one though, because I truly cannot describe the experience of why playing this game was awesome, other than unfortunately saying you just had to be there. Like, this one truly is a product of its time that makes very little sense now, but I'm so glad it still exists. That being said, it is also the only game on this list that is still alive and active. Like, you can go to a website and still play this. So if you remember this game from back in the day, or if you want to give it a shot for the first time now, I'd suggest checking it out. It is still hosted. It's still, I'll link it in the description, but go play this one. It's actually quite fun. I gotta play this one. And the last game on our list, perhaps the most 2000s thing I could find on this entire website, Adventures in Gameland. Mouths shut, ears open, my movie's on. The game opens up with our hero playing some absolute peak on the N64.
Yeah, go. Yeah.
Before his controller starts glowing, causing him to lose the game.
How could this happen? Wait, it wasn't my fault. It was the controller's fault. It didn't react fast enough.
Sure, bud.
Stupid controller.
Where is his Oscar?
What? What just happened? Did the controller just get warped into the TV? It went right into the screen. What's going on here?
Okay, pausing. This shot is genuinely cool. Like, genuinely good job, VFX guy. I'm impressed by that. I don't know how you did that. Here we get our very first choice in the game, and it's the same one your dad should have made. Sorry, that was mean. Sorry, that was mean. I'm gonna try to pull it out.
That's not gonna work.
So he jumps into the TV, being warped into a video game world where we meet the real Oscar nominee in this game.
Wake up, Private. There's no time for sleeping. The enemy's everywhere. They could be over there or over there. Come with me. Woo!
This crazy man leads our hero into an open meadow where he runs away. Oh no, there he is.
Pshaw! Here's your gun. Use it to shoot the enemy. Good luck. You'll need it. Pshaw!
This strange man gives you your first gun, which takes us into our first interactive section. This works pretty much the same as the other FMV game, where the guy filming it just walked around with a camera and then they overlaid the gun graphic on top. But I found this one to be even funnier and more nostalgic because the enemies are actually part of the videos. But that means every time you kill an enemy, this kid had to just fall backwards into a bush and stand there. Like, there's a part where they didn't cut it in time and you could see him just standing off to the side. It is so awesome. I love this. I remember doing this as a kid. It's a canon event. It's so good. After you defeat all of the enemies, though, the crazy guy literally flies away.
Anyway, gotta fly.
I swear that never happens.
Woo!
But your troubles are not over yet, as this animated guy shows up ready to fight you in this smiling friends-ass fight.
You don't.
Oh no! He's going. This is awesome. This is so.
Yeah. Please don't kill me. I won't do anything. Please, fool.
And just as it seems our hero's story is going to end. Whoa!
Yes.
Yes! This king arrives named Mr. Awesomeness.
I'm Mr. Awesomeness, and you're welcome.
And he teaches you to fly. This part of the game is ear melting. But it's actually really cool that they were able to fit, like, another distinct type of gameplay into this game. It ends with a message saying that this is only part 1, but unfortunately the creator never made a follow-up. That being said, I was able to find his Newgrounds where he posted both this game and another series of games that look really similar, so actually if this video does decent, I might look through more games like this, because I enjoyed them. But that being said, we are at the end. Hopefully this spread of games I just showed off gave you a good sense of some of the absurdity, but also creativity that came out of Adobe Flash Player. Although I'd argue its time has come and gone, its impact on the internet is everlasting, and some of the games made with it will continue to live on forever in our hearts and minds. If you want to play any of these games or explore other Flash games from your childhood, they're all available through Flashpoint, so I'd highly suggest checking it out if you didn't already know about it. Thank you all who clicked on this video. I hope you have a good one. That's all I got. I'll see you in the next one.
Country boy stepping, yeah, I'm country boy stepping.